back to another chapter of our second season of Fatura. Fatu Ura is in the house, my man. And here is my brother, Luis Gama. Thanks. It's me, Marco Marquez, as always. And we have now the pleasure, the honor to have here with us to the unique and talented musician of the whole world, Marcus. Amen.
Hey.
It's been a while, man. Yeah, for everybody who doesn't know, let's just pretend that we don't know each other. Nice to meet you, my man. My name, as Marcus says, I'm Luis Gama. Can you please introduce yourself to the people who's listening to us? Who is Marcus Amen? What do you do for a living? What do you do at the Ori Tahiti culture? And who are you, my man?
Oh man. Well, first and foremost, thanks for having me. Marcos and Luis and I have been trying to schedule this for I don't know how long, almost a year now, maybe two. Yeah. So I'm glad we finally did it. Thanks for being patient on your guys' behalf. I know with the pandemic and everything over here and things you guys dealing with stuff over there. So I am Marcus Amen of Stockton, California, born and raised 209.
Oh my.
Yeah,
We're like 2 blocks from here.
I know, 2 blocks, a hop, skip, and a jump. But
Yeah.
So Marcus Amen, as far as Odie is concerned, I am the lead drummer and lead musician for the Ori Tamari'i here in Stockton. Man, okay, so first and foremost, what's been up recently with me? I've just started a new job here in Stockton. I was working in the Bay Area for almost 4 or 5 years, and then transition was like, I figured out I didn't want to be there. Then came and finally found a job close to home. So my commute went from 2.5 hours to 3 sometimes each way. And now I commute only 10 minutes to work. And so I'm loving it. I'm saving a lot of money. I'm closer to family, and it's just a relief. I get to actually sleep now.
You have time for yourself, no?
Yeah, exactly. I can actually do stuff now, because when I was commuting, I literally was non-existent in the Odi world, like, because I spent so much time just going to work and then coming home, and then I'd sleep and then rinse and repeat. I'm just like, I'm not going to sit here and complain, because I know there's a handful of people who do this. So I know what it takes to, I tip my hat off to those people who do it for a living, and they've been doing it for almost 20 plus years or almost their entire life. So, but yeah, that's as of late, that's what I've just been doing, just kind of trying to stay low as much as possible. But I still share a little bit of my life on Instagram. Right now I'm not active on Facebook. I hopefully I get back to it slowly. I just kind of took a break from social media a tad bit. But it was great because I was able to kind of concentrate on myself, figure out what I wanted to do in life and what direction I wanted things to go for myself. And, it's an ongoing, it's ongoing progression, I'd like to say, because it never stops. And, everyone's always trying, okay, today's Monday. Okay, what can I do today? Okay, today's Tuesday. What's going to happen today? So, and let's see. Oh, you guys know I'm an uncle again. Melanie just had her little one, so shout out to Melanie and baby Natalia, and shout out to Israel as well. Beautiful family, and I can't wait for the world to meet her. Everyone got to meet her a little bit at this past Kikirena in Merced. But any chance I get, I'm literally playing Aprimas and Ahuruas for this 2-month-old baby, and she's just falling in love with everything I throw at her. So that's basically what life's been. It's just work, whatever I can, drum, sing, be a part of something, help someone else out, and then just be there for the family.
Now that you mention it, that's a life. That's how you live a life. And how old are you, man?
Oh, dude, I'm turning 33 this year, man, in August. August 31st, I will be 33 years old. Halfway to 66, man. Oh, I'm almost
Halfway. Yeah,
halfway.
and no, let's just think about present. We please do not think that way. No, no,
What do you
no.
want? What's wrong, man? I'm trying to collect retirement already. I'm just
Yeah.
it's not good. So,
Sooner or later, we'll be retired. Hopefully
yeah.
not till 66.
Yeah.
Hopefully not. Yeah, and what do you do for a living right now? I mean, you're saying that you switched your not switching you changed
your job.
your job. Yeah.
Oh,
What do you do
okay.
right
So
now for a living?
cool. So actually, this would kind of, I've kind of been I kept to myself these past, how do you say, several years about this and everything. Oh, sorry, my dog's barking. uh, okay, everyone knew me for pursuing a fire career and everything, but unfortunately that took, a turn, not for the better, unfortunately, but I came out, I didn't mope, I didn't sit on my butt and like just blame the world for the way things were happening. And I got to moving to the next thing I needed to do because life goes on. So went fire. So I was doing that for about, I'll say 5, almost 6 years. I lost count. And then I was a reserve fireman there. And then things weren't working out. So left that. And then I got a job full time with Caltrans, which is a kind of like a government state job. And so I was working with them for 5 years, and then got a lot of experience from them, met some great people on the way, learned a lot from those people. And then I took those skills that I learned from there, all those, everything, all the experience I got from there, and took a shot back at home, near home. And I said that was the main goal, just to get closer to home. And that's always where it's been for me. I've always thought about like trying to move and stuff, but I felt like, okay, I've got unfinished business at home, so I got to make sure that's okay first before I do things elsewhere. And then finally landed a job in Stockton. It, by the grace of God, I was like, yes, finally got home. So now I work for the city of Stockton. It's still a government type job. I still get paid through the government, or and what I do now is I work for the collection system. So we basically tend to Stockton's municipal utilities department. So we are the ones who kind of upkeep everything as far as sanitary and storm stuff goes. And it's a great job. I get every other Friday off. I get five days out of the year that are holidays that some people will understand, that are called floaters, and I can use them whenever I want throughout the year. I can use them all together, or I can use them. Oh, I want to use it here. I want to use it here. And a cool thing, I get my birthday off too.
Oh man, that's like
Yeah.
it's been a lot. It's been a lot since I don't have rest on my birthday.
Right, like, and every year it's, oh, your birthday lands on a different day, so it's like, man. And then the cool thing about that day is you can get your birthday off, or you can hold that birthday and use that day for any day throughout the year. So you
That's
can,
the coolest job ever.
yeah, so you don't, yeah, you don't have to take your birthday off. Like if your birthday lands on a Tuesday, like, okay, do I want to take Tuesday off? Like, no, let me just work the whole week, and then I'll use my birthday on next Monday, so I get a 3-day weekend. So it's like, yeah, so you can use, and you can use it. You have all your, oh no, I stand corrected. From the day of your birthday and 60 days after that is how long you have to use your birthday. Yeah. So
That's awesome, man.
it's great. It's great. Great group, group of guys, really down to earth. It's that we always make fun. It's just a great environment, and I couldn't ask for a better spot where I'm at in my life right now. And come to find out that this job, I have a lot of, how do you say, I would say, roots where I this new job that I have. And they saw my last name and they're like, oh, you're an Amen? I was like, yeah. They're like, do you know so and so, so and so, and so and so? So the Amen blood and roots go deep here in Stockton. So it's really crazy because I'm seeing these people who used to work with my elders, whether
Yeah.
it be my aunts, uncles, or grandparents, and they are like, you look just like your grandfather, you look just like your uncle, you look just like. I was like, wait, how do you know my family? So I'm meeting a whole new network of people who know my family, and because of that, they're kind of taking care of me.
Yeah, and you can dig a little bit into your history.
Yeah. So yeah, I found out my grandpa on my dad's side retired from the same he retired from the city of Stockton,
Yeah.
but he was in a different department. And then I'm meeting like uncles, aunties, good friends, and family. So it feels, I feel right at home. I feel right at home. So it feels really good to be home.
It's
Yeah.
cool that kind of job, but the thing here is that you have to make that stop in your life to like to think about what you want to the next level of your life, to the next
Yes.
step of your life. Because if you hadn't done that thing, you maybe
Mhm.
you hadn't find this job, you know.
Yeah. Hmm.
So that's a
Yeah.
good thing. That's why the people knows your grandparent and everyone in your job takes care of you, you know. And that's
Yes.
something cool that you have look for it. You have searched for it to get it, you know.
Yeah. And it was like, there's it was just like it's this I always give it to the grace of God, like he works in mysterious ways. And
Yeah.
I think he was kind of steering me this way and be like, all right, cool. And I you know your job is a job. You're gonna have, there's gonna be pros and cons. There's gonna be things you really like and there's things you don't like. But for the most part, I know that I am home. I'm their family. I can be there for family. And I think that was the biggest thing. And it's great because it feels like I've been seeing my family now. Like they're like, Marcus, you like, because I would seriously not see my family for almost weeks and almost months at a time because my schedule would be so messed up. Like I get home at like 7 and I can have 1 hour to eat dinner and shower and do whatever I want and then go right back to sleep and wake up 2, 3 in the morning just to go to work again. I'm just like,
Damn, man.
yeah, it was, dude. I did not like it. I was, but I'm glad I went through it. I'm glad I went through it. I went through that rut. I was like, okay, this is a test. This is a trial that I need to get through
It's
in my
like a
life right now.
process that you have to make through to get to the next level.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah. And so, I think having done that kind of, shaped me, kind of molded me and helped me kind of, I don't know in what way. Really hard to say what it's like definitively did to me. But I will say this. I know having done all that, I was able to put all the like I was able to see through all the stuff that didn't matter and I was able to just focus
Yeah.
on what mattered. And was like, okay, this is what matters to me right now.
Yeah.
This is where I want to be. And
Stay focused.
it helps me just like, okay, cool. And I realized, okay, all that time I wasted, I could have been spending time with my mom, spending time with my dad, spending
Yeah.
time with my sister, spending time with my siblings, or family, or just other friends I hadn't seen in years. So I'm just like, all right, so what can I do? What now that I have that time, what can I do with that time? Do I have more time to be creative now? What do I want to do? Music, video games, trying to pursue something,
Yeah.
whatever. Yeah. So, but it's, it kind of helped me kind of just focus on like, all right, this is what matters.
Like a tunnel sight, right?
And
For sure.
how can you tell us about the same process but in the music, in the Ori world, when you start, in which part of your life you stop to look for the next level, to know how you're going to do the things in a new way to get to the next level, to get to the Marcus Amen that everyone's know.
Oh man, that process is like, it's where do I start with that?
Let's go way back in
Yeah,
your
no,
story from the point that you were dancing only. Because
yeah,
as far as I remember, the first time we met each other like 10 years ago or something, you were about to stop or yeah, your dancing career was almost over and you were at the drumming scene from now on, right?
Yeah, no, you are absolutely correct. I had made that decision. I had a, having talked with a lot of people and everything at that point, that's those years ago, we first met each other. That was the point where I realized, I was like, okay, I know where I am most, how do you say,
Better.
yeah, effective and needed, and where I could contribute the most,
Yeah.
and in the same process, and during the process, I would be happy and content and still love everything I do. And that was where I kind of made that decision. It was kind of, I don't know how long it was, like the period where I was deciding and stuff, but it just happened. So I was just like, I was transitioning out of dancing, and then, my view, I think what happened was my view of dancing changed out here as far as the solos and everything. Cause I used to just want to go out for solos and stuff and just compete. But then, I never realized, okay, why am I dancing? Well, who am I dancing for? Like, is this for me? Is it for people in Tahiti? Is it for what kind of cause is this for? And that was that. I'll address this, and I'll take it way back so we can talk about how I get creative with the drumming and everything. But
Go.
to answer where that transition came from was, I talked to, we always have our idols in Tahiti, as far as the Heva, and who you know who we look up to and where we pull inspiration from, and where where we'd like to be, or if we take something from, someone, or where we start, okay, this is how I start, let me build this, and then it forms into its own thing. So I was talking to a good friend of mine named Sven Hansen. I don't know if you guys know him. he
No,
he
we
was,
don't.
yeah, he is a Tani dancer with Hey Tahiti.
Yeah.
And he went out for best male dancer the year that Melanie and I competed with Hey Tahiti in at the Heva on Pawata. And he was the Tani representing Hey Tahiti that year. And years before that, I think it was 2009 going into 2010, he was here in America. He stayed with us, and I asked him, hey, why don't you go out for solos here? Like, since you're here all the time, like, we have Merced coming up, why don't you just go out? He's like, no. He's like, my reason for dancing is bigger than just dancing for myself. He's like, I want to dance for other reasons. And one of the things I remember from that conversation was, he's like, it is a true honor to represent the village you come from. If you are from somewhere, and that's where the Pupu Ori comes from, and you have the privilege and the honor to represent your village, it's like you're the champion. You brought the gold home. The same way we feel good about when people bring the Olympic gold home. Like, yeah, Mexico, or like USA. Like, you know how, like you're not even at the Olympics, but you know how you guys feel when, like, oh man, they brought the gold home. Heck yeah, you guys feel proud. You don't even know, you never met this person, but that, you feel proud.
Yeah.
And that's what I compared it to. And I was like, oh, Ori is on a smaller scale because not the whole world doesn't know about it, like how
Yet.
yeah. So it's like, yet, you're correct. I concur, but it's doing great for sure. And and in no way am I responsible for the transition it's spreading, and at the speed it's spreading, because there's tons of people who are responsible for that. I try to do and contribute to where I can. But Sven was just telling me, he's like, look, I would rather represent someone, a group of people, and that's where I would want to dance from. Rather, don't want to dance for myself. I want to dance for a cause, for a group of people, for a Pupu Ori. And depending on the theme, he's like, okay, this theme's speaking to me. This is why I want to dance. I don't just want to dance just to dance. I want to tell a story. I want, and he was very sophisticated. And that was right when it started getting me to think. I'm like, yeah, why do I go out for solos? Is it just for me? Or is it, you know? And so this was right before we went out for 2010. And him and I, having him telling me that made me, how do we say, I danced from another place rather than just like when we went to practice. I was telling, Sven, I was like, dude, you help me. I'm like, I wouldn't have danced the way I did during our 2010 piece if it wasn't for you. I said, I literally wanted to know more about what we were dancing about. I really started paying more attention to what the theme was, each of the oteas, what they were representing. And then I was able to, it's kind of like you get into character. They call it like how certain actors, they call it method acting, where they really dig deep into the character. And when the cameras are off, they're still in character. But it's not that extreme. I'm not like trying to be Tahitian off the floor, but it's like, you get the idea, like you really submerge yourself into it. And that's where, at that end of my dancing career, that's where I was dancing from. And then I realized, okay, I want to go into drumming. Sorry, go ahead.
No. I mean, it's like the expression, go break a leg, but not on the act, if not the representing and the feeling, telling a story. As you were saying, you were doing this for the group, for the team, but what do I want to do? Where do I want to go? What are my goals with the team, with the group, with the drumming, with the dancing? And it's like your past job. You were living like your side, looking everywhere. But now when you focus yourself on looking at a tunnel side, you're able to get, I'm going that way, I'm going that way. So if I'm going that way, I should not do this thing, I should not do this thing.
Yeah.
And you just have to like put everything on balance. The things I want to do, and the things that feels good to do, the things that I'm good at, and the practicing
that helps you to get to the goal.
Yeah, for sure. No, you guys are totally correct. We're, that's exactly, and I'm glad you tied those two. The way I approached, my recent years with my job is just kind of the same way I did with the Ori. Like, all right, what do I want out of this? Is it about me, or is it about a bigger picture? Am I at the point to where, some people have taken the time to share their culture with me or share what they know with me.
Yeah.
It's about time I tried to give back, and how do I do that? And the way I thought I can submerge myself, the same way I feel about dancing. How do I do that with drumming? Okay, I could provide the best drumming I could possibly think of, or, try to come up with based on where that feeling comes from, where I put myself in that moment. And then, okay, what's the next step? Okay, if someone asks, hey, Marcus, do you want to come join us or help us out for a competition, a show, this and that? I'm like, yeah, I'll help out. Come on, like, just let me know when the practices are and I'll be there. And then, it started a snowball effect. And then that's when I started seeing, okay, this is my role here. This is where I know this is not, I know where I'm where I need to be, is because I know I'm helping people, but I'm also helping, the group as well in every capacity that I can. And then, granted, I took, a couple breaks, and I'm still on a little break right now, but, it kind of like the picture became clear of what my role was in, like I said, with the job in life, and then, with the Ori, and the drumming, everything, music, everything. So, but that's what, it's great you talked about that whole transition from dancing to drumming, because not many people, all of a sudden you just see them drumming and or dancing, and all of a sudden they're drumming like full time. You're like, wait, what happened? And people was like, oh, you were a great dancer. I was like, no, I was okay, like
I was that guy. I was that annoying guy. Hey man, you should come and dance again. Are you let me get it, man. today
Oh,
for them.
man.
Come and make some paoti with me.
Yeah.
I remember that, man. I remember that. And
Yeah.
you used to have dreadlocks, and
Oh,
it's
yeah.
yeah. You cut your hair and switch your part
Character.
your character of the group. So and you started the with the Tuere. Would you started at the Pahu? Where did you started at?
So you want the transition of my history of drumming where I started. I can give you
Yeah,
guys that. I can give you guys that back.
the reason why we are asking you this is because people now it's really easy for, let's just pretend that there's another guy who's just getting into Ori life and gets to watch a video of Tamari'i idea, and he just see the orchestra and PT Toru. Oh my God, Marcus Amen is really awesome. He might was born that way. He got it really easy.
Oh no, you want to
You
know
know what I'm trying to say?
yeah.
People might think it's really easy because your fathers, your brothers, your sisters, they're all Audi, and you should have born with it.
Ah.
Your hand, it's like magic. It does it by itself.
Hey,
Yeah, you know
and
what I mean?
that is funny that you asked that because I'm gonna, I'm gonna talk about my dad here for a second. So I'll talk about a little bit what I was growing up and then how it relates to my drumming.
Yeah.
Okay. So, a little kid, like I had no wish to play, like we were always going to practice because Matt and Coley were always going to practice when I was a kid, but I wasn't really involved. I just didn't want to be involved. I was just a kid running around. Excuse me. But so I started playing sports, just playing outside, and then dad apparently recognized that I had an arm. Like I was able to throw a baseball really fast and really good. I was able to throw footballs really good. And my dad to this day still thinks I should have been a baseball player
Yeah.
because I used to be a pitcher and I would throw some, I don't know. I was just playing the sport, but I didn't really notice what I was doing or what I was capable of.
Yeah.
And then like my dad, we would be at the park and I would just we were playing catch and I would tell them, go farther. And they're like, how far can you throw? And I would just launch it. And my dad's like, man, you should have played football. You should have played baseball. Like because you get those, I guess, apparently, I'm not trying to put myself on a pedestal, but he saw something that I didn't see. And then I guess my mom saw it too. They're like, you have an arm. And then, transitioning into drumming, I think that, that same, how do you say, arm talent is kind of translated to poetic because I play with that arm. So that's how I transition it to, and my dad says, oh, you should have been a baseball player. I was like, well, what if God intended me to be a tuere player, but use this arm to play tuere and play these drums? I said, because when I, just as hard as I would be throwing that ball or, that football, I'm playing just as hard with the stick. Okay. So, but, going back to the beginning, I first started on fakete. That was my first drum ever. And it was with Te Poyo Petitifa under Yoani Burns, Uncle Joel, Tonton Joel. And I learned from him and I learned from Bubs. I'm pretty sure you guys know Bubs.
Yeah.
He is a fantastic fakete player. Bubs and I grew up together within the Ori, and we danced together, we drummed together, we used to skateboard together, we hung out. And but that was my first love, was the fatete. And once I learned how to play fatete, then I transitioned to taripurao. I really can't remember what age it was, but I would say teenage years is when I transitioned from fatete to taripurao. And by the age of, I want to say 13, I was already playing, 12, 13 years old. I was already playing in drumming competitions and playing for Oteas. And I was the only fatete player. And then all the other guys were playing. I would just be playing. And then Bubs would be playing another drum. And then Matthew took a break. And then I was like, okay, we need a 30 pull-out player. So Matthew had showed me a lot of things on the Tariparao before he took his, has a hiatus. And then I started playing and I started getting way more comfortable with it. And then so that's how I started learning, was through shows, through practices, through all the showing up every single day to practice, not missing a practice, and making sure, I was, you're practicing that skill, because you ever heard that saying, talent without practice is nothing at all, you know? So it's like, I had a knack for it and I was picking things up pretty quick. So I really wanted it. So I would go home, I would never stop drumming, play on the pillow, play on the bottom of my shoe, and then try to think of patterns. And then I started hearing, the only thing I would hear at that age, which is fakete and tariparao. That was it. And then I started picking up the toere. And this right here was that was the hardest thing, because when we formed, I was already sort of playing toere, in Te Apoi. But then when we left and started our dance group, I was full-fledged on toere, two-handing. I taught myself how to two-hand. There's really no way to teach anyone to play two-hand. You just got to do it, and then you have to figure it out, kind of. And then like one thing led to another. Then all of a sudden things started making sense. Almost like, okay, now that I have the history and the experience of fakete and tariparao, now I understand toere. Now I hear all the drums in my head, like a composer hears all the instruments of a symphony. And I'm like, I'm hearing beats in my head. Like, what's going on? I'm hearing crazy beats. And when you play Po Tupai, it's just fakete and tariparao. That's the way I look at it. It's fakete and tariparao kind of put together, like Congo and stuff. So, and then, there was just sleepless nights where I couldn't sleep because I would just have drumming in my head. There was no way for me to and the only way I could get this stuff out of my head was to record it. And so that's when I started saving up with the help of my uncle, and I got myself a MacBook. And I think I still have that MacBook right here. I think I do. Yeah, it's this very first MacBook that I ever got. And it was a 2010 MacBook. And this is when I just started dumping everything. I put that MacBook through the test. I was dumping all my ideas on GarageBand. And that's how like I was able to dump my head. And I was like, okay, I can finally sleep. Because like when you, as a creator, like when you create something on the fly and you hear it, you have no way of like recording it there, and then like you're just hoping and praying that you remember it later on. And you're just like, oh my god, I hope. And thank God for voice memo now, because if I have a beat in my head, I just record. I go da 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 da. That's what I'm thinking in my head, just so I don't forget it. Exactly. And I go and then I start singing. There's a way I remember how to remember each drum. So. And that's how that's where I started. That's where the experience came from. And it didn't right now. I'm gonna tell you right now, it did not come easy. I had to work for it. The same way I had to work for ukulele. Like I would get on my family's nerves because I would be up so late trying to figure out a song. And I would be listening to a cassette tape from Tahiti. And there was an aparima I would be listening from OTTA or Hikura Nui. And I'm like, okay, what is he playing right there? I would literally I would pluck it by ear. And I'm just like, okay, that's what it is. And I didn't know chords. I just knew shapes. That's all I knew. I just knew shapes. So I remembered shapes. And then later on, I learned what chord it was. And then I was able to transition. I was like, okay, now I know what I'm playing. This is a C, this is an A, this is a diminished, this is, and then, so I kind of did it backwards. And then I taught myself how to play guitar. Then I was able to transition what I was doing on ukulele to guitar. And then everything started making sense. I'm like, okay, cool. Now we have the music component and then the drumming component. And then that's how you get kind of what my mind is like today, so to speak.
So almost we can say that you, at the beginning, you start learning by your own, and then you get the basics of Tahiti.
Yes. So, I owe a lot of credit to I owe a lot of credit to 3 people. More like 5. Okay, so I'll do it like this. So Tonton Joel for kind of kickstarting, you know, this whole burning sensation in my chest to want to drum. Okay, anytime I saw him drum, I'm like, man, I want to drum so bad, but I have to be a dancer right now. It's like it'll just be a look. I want to drum. Any chance I got, like when we were supposed to be on a water break, I would go to the drums right away and play. I give props to Marcel Queros because he's the one who kind of took me under his wing and taught me at a time where I wouldn't say no one else was teaching, but you know, during that time, people were kind of just to themselves and really didn't want to show people much. And I was really young trying to learn. And he taught me up. And he taught me all the parts and where the parts fit and how each part fits. And once I understood that, I was like, oh, game over. I know exactly what to do for all my drumming now. And then after our first competition as Tamari'i Materia, we did a drumming competition in Merced Kikirena. I forgot what year. Adam Berderman of Nemenzo, he watched my piece, and that he reached out to me and said, hey, what are you doing today? And it was like a random day. It was like Monday. It was like literally the Monday after Merced.
Okay.
And he goes, hey, what are you doing? I was like, nothing. He's like, hey, I'm coming to Stockton. I was like, what? He's like, let's go to the studio and drum. I was like, you're coming all the way out here to come drum? Like, he's like, yeah. I was like, all right, Mom, I'm going to go to the studio. And
what for?
That was the first time I learned Oro Oro was from Adam.
Oh,
yeah.
Directly from him.
Yeah. So those are my 3 main teachers as far as Toere is concerned. And as far as study put out, it was Matthew. And for Fakete, it was Bubs and Tonton Joel. So those were the 5 guys who had they were directly responsible for how I got started and kind of how my drumming evolved.
We want to talk to them. We want to talk to them about please.
we can get the 2 hardest ones to get a hold of is Adam and Tonton Joel, but we could probably get the other guys to do it. But to elaborate a little more, it's an amazing story how Adam was the one who kind of taught me Oro Oro, and like he was kind of passing the torch on, because what he did for me, that after watching me perform, I don't know what he saw in me, but he's like, all right, I want to help this kid. Because at that time I was a kid. I was a teenager. I was still learning as much as I could, trying to
but that's the thing. He saw that you wanted to learn. He wouldn't choose a random guy just because. He wasn't going to be, hey, Luis Gama, come here, I'm gonna teach you. You might seem to want to learn something about the Ori culture. It wasn't like that. You were performing, you were practicing, you were living in it 24/7. You don't get to be at a drumming competition just because. It is Monday. Let me apply to a drumming competition. I feel like I'm going to be cool, man. It isn't like that, you know? I mean, what would you say is going to be like your biggest engine, your biggest pushing, your biggest inspiration for the Ori? What we have shitty days, we'll have like quick days, we will have those hard days, and we're just like, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this, not today. What are your pushing, what are your thoughts on those days? Let me share with us, what do you think or how to think on those days?
Oh, so like, I think if I get what you're saying here, or you're asking, is what motivates me to kind of get me out of those tough days.
Yeah.
To kind of, okay. So where it's just like, I think you're saying like where I just don't want to have like, does it have to do with Odi, or like not, like when I don't want to have anything
with everything I mean, if it is with Odi, let's just say if you don't practice a lot, you're not going to improve. if you don't go to the gym, you're not going to look different.
Yeah,
If you don't
exactly.
go to work, you're not going to get paid and all that with everything.
Yeah. Okay. So there's like a, that's kind of weird, you know, uh it's you asked that because like it's I've never had to look at it like that before, but I know for sure I went through it where like I go through, how do you go, creative block, like a
Yeah.
creative block. You have no idea what's going on. You're just like, what's going on? Like
Frustrating.
I need to stop and just kind of reset, or and the same thing with outside, like maybe I don't want to do this right now.
Yeah.
And the things that help me get through those times is there's a few things that I do. There's kind of like a, how do you say it? Like a ritual like that I do.
Yeah.
I set up all the drums, or like if I'm thinking of drumming, I have to like kind of like help myself get in the mood. And if I'm in the mood and nothing's coming, then what I revert to is other music. Like it's not, sometimes it would be other people's drumming, or I'll go surf the drumming and like, no, because then if I'm in that creative mode, I'm hearing that drumming, then subconsciously, if I think I created something, I just did what someone else did. So
Yeah.
I try not to listen to anyone's drumming, or not even my own, because I don't want to influence myself in that way. I want to come up with something original.
Yeah,
So
you don't want to look like to sound the same.
yeah, like yeah, I'm just pulling from someone. So what I usually do is I refer to R&B, hip hop, or it's not just that genre. It's a multiple genres. Like I try to look for a song that's going to help me get in the mood to think like, all right, it'll help me completely forget about Ori and drumming. And then what that does is like it helps me clean my slate, clean my plate off. Then
Yeah.
I'm able to go back.
Yeah.
And that's how I get out the rut. And as far as since we're kind of in this motivational bubble, excuse me, I would say, as far as the people who keep me driven to keep doing this, because there is let's be honest, there is a competitive nature to this, there is a competitive side to this. And it's all love and respect, because I like to leave it on the floor, and or if we're playing for someone, I like to leave it out there. I look to my peers to help drive me, and that's what we do. Like Eric Buchanan, for example, from To'era Monorahi. I think you guys would have a great time if you guys interviewed him. Shout out to him. They're probably at practice right now. But
Yeah.
we would go against each other in competition all the time, and before competition, we come to each other, like we find each other right away, like, yo, Eric. He's like, yo, Marky. I'm like, bro, I'm so glad, like we're here again. Like we weren't even talking about the competition, like talking about competing against each other. We were just like, I can't believe we're gonna be sharing the stage again, like, or like, we're here again. Like this is our time. Like we were just really excited to be there together, and just talk about what our journey to where we were at that point. And it's those little things that help kind of keep the competitive, snowball effect going. And at the very end of our competition, I'm like, bro, I love you. Please bring it. And then, you know, and when you have a competitor like that, you know, you kind of appreciate it because they bring the best out in you. They bring the
It
best out in
pushes
you.
you.
Yeah, and it's not just Eric. It's Tila. It's you know whoever we compete against, and whoever you have like that those ties with, and your friends outside of the competition, and you're friends with them, and you're just like, man, like you find out like, oh, these guys are going out, we gotta bring it. Like, oh, these guys are going out, we gotta bring it. Like, and it kind of like, oh man, and in some cases, like it would kind of be like disrespectful to not bring your best sometimes, because I feel like in some senses, or I've never felt this way, but I've heard people say it, which I'm not going to name, but like they're like, man, like they're better than that. Like it's kind of insulting that like, they didn't bring their A game, they just put something out there. Like we know we bring the competition to each other, and it's like maybe they were just going through something in their life that a creative block or something where they couldn't push themselves that much that year or something like that. But there's so many different things to it. But and And going to Tahiti and visiting Tahiti is always a good motivation. Any trip to Tahiti I take, I'm coming back with a little more knowledge than I had before. It's just I learn something new every time I go there, and it is just that sky's the limit. I learn as much as I can from the Tahitians, and I want to make them proud as much as possible, and I try to do that as best as I can. So um, and I do that in the way I know how I can with the music and the drumming. So those are my avenues of motivation sometimes. And another one, believe it or not, is the younger generation. Seeing a lot of these young kids, like, that we used to see when they were like just in diapers, and now all of a sudden we saw them as dancers, and they went through that transition I went through. Everyone goes through a certain transition where they go, oh, here is, oh, no more dancing. I want to do drumming full time, or I want to sing full time, or I want to do this full time, or they want to do everything.
Yeah.
And it's wonderful and beautiful to see when you see someone where in the shoes of where you started at, and you just can't help but reminisce and have a flashback, like, man, I remember when I was at that age, like, and like you want to do nothing but help those people, like there's some part of me that just like wants to, all right, like do what Adam did for me, you know, and Uncle Joel, and then Marcel, Matt, and Bubs did for me, and helped me get to give me a little seed so it can help me grow into whatever kind of tree I'm growing into.
Yeah.
So,
You don't know if that guy or kid is going to teach Ori South America, China, Japan, somewhere else, and the culture is getting bigger.
But
Bigger.
Yeah.
something that you mentioned a little bit, I want to go back a little, that you said that the talent is nothing without practice.
Mhm.
And all the knowledge, all the trips to Tahiti that you have go, and everything, is nothing without practicing it, because
Yes.
sometimes the people, as Luis said, that the people see you and they think that he born that way. He has the talent the day he born. So that is something that is very specific, and a very important point of all of this. All your transition and everything you have done will be nothing without the practice. Because I remember when you came here 10 years ago, I remember that you told us that you were practicing from Monday to Monday, like 3 to 4 hours daily. So I was like, damn. We are
Yes.
far.
No, he was like, he's gotta be kidding, man.
Yeah.
Who's gonna spend 4 hours a day practicing?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude.
That is something
No,
that the people doesn't see, They only see you on the stage, and that's everything. They see how fast you can play, and that's everything. But they don't see all those hours that you spend practicing, learning, hearing to the tapes of Tahiti, like trying to figure out what were they playing and everything of
yeah.
that all that effort, the people doesn't see it.
Yeah, no, you are totally correct. Like it's the same thing with, like, shout out to Melanie and and Coley and Matt and Sean. They're, you know I'm not the only, I'm one of my many siblings that I have, and they did the same thing. They worked on their craft, some harder than others, but that's okay. But it's it's like, and you can, like, and you can ask my family, I'm not lying at all. I would get on their nerves from practicing at the wee hours, and they're like, Marcus, it's too late, like, be quiet. And I'm just like, all right, I gotta stop. But then it's crazy because they would get annoyed when I was in that struggle stage. I was, whatever I was doing, playing drums or playing ukulele or playing guitar, I was in that struggle stage, and it was annoying to them. But you should have seen them right when I got it. I was happy, and they were like, play it again, play it again. It's like, all right. It's like, I finally got it. I finally got it. And it's funny you say that. Like, it's, talent, like, going back to it, talent is nothing without practice. Like, you can only get so far in talent. Like, okay, if I have it, if let's the knowledge, okay, if I have the talent, okay, who can I be if I like really polish that talent? What can I do? What am I capable of if I keep doing that? And you know, and a lot of those practices wasn't just me. Like, believe it or not, here's the proof of, like, here's the secret juice right here. It was me going back to the basics. It wasn't me, like, you see me playing all fast and everything. I wouldn't be able to do that if I didn't go back to the basics. It's always, okay, yeah, let's push ahead and see if how far we can evolve and push our drumming and our skill set, but we're gonna go right back to the basics. I mean, it's like it's back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And a lot of drummers who, like, okay, I'm pretty sure he doesn't mind me saying this, but one of Eric's drummers, he is like their drummers are understanding, like, okay, we're going back to the basics. And then they notice that after they play their basics, you know, they try to go back to their modern drumming the way they usually play, and it's getting a little better. And it's starting to make sense and things are starting to fall in more. And like I told you guys all those years ago, I'm playing like 3-4 hours a day. I'm just playing and it's me two-handing. It was usually either me two-handing or just me, Matt, and one Fatete player. And it was me just do. And what I was doing during that whole thing was really concentrating on each hit. And what that was doing is like how you guys go to the gym. You concentrate and focus on that muscle. And at first, it doesn't feel like you're doing anything, like
Yeah.
you don't see instant results, and it's the progression of 2, 3, 4, 5 months later, you're like, oh, I sound way different. Or in your guys' fitness life, oh, I look and feel different.
Yeah.
And it's the same formula. You got to go back to the basics. You got to go back to the basics. And
It's always about the
like
basics.
the basics is where it helps, man. Learn your parts. And if you know you have weak points, that was the biggest thing with me. I knew my weakest part was horopu. That was my weakest part. And so what I would do is I would challenge myself to play ropu. Yeah, mu is very challenging because the timing where it comes in at, but ropu was a really weak part for me. I don't know why, but I just felt like I couldn't, hit with it. And then moody was my second weakest part. And so I worked on that because moody is such a weird part sometimes when you're doing creativity and the part needs to fit correctly and it just doesn't
Yeah.
work out sometimes. And then so you go back and you see where your where your weak points are, and then you work on them, you polish them, and you're just like, all right, cool, I got that. And then you know it's hard to teach. It's really hard teaching drumming workshops sometimes because, like, when I go out to you, the last time I went out to you guys, I taught a drumming workshop. I'm giving you like an instant just workshop, and I give you as much as I can that you're gonna, in hopes that you're gonna go with it. And then I tell you guys later, hey, basics, 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 work on your basics. Keep doing that and you'll see a difference. And another thing is, here's another big thing. Don't just practice at practice. You gotta take it home.
Yeah, on
You
your own.
need to take Yes, you need to take it home.
Yeah.
Like I said, like I just started, like 5 minutes ago, I was talking about I was getting on everyone's nerves in the house because I was practicing at home. I would never stop. Never stop. I was practicing at home and they were just like, be quiet. Da, 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 da." And then right when I got it, I go to practice and I play it, and everyone at practice is like, dang, Marky. Like, what was that? I'm like, and everyone's like, he's been practicing.
Yeah.
Like, wait, we only practice like 2 times a week. Well, I'm like, no, he practices at home. So like, take it at home. And this doesn't just go for drumming. This goes for dancing as well.
Yeah.
And, Melanie, man, the way I was working on my
She
craft.
dances while she's sleeping.
Oh my gosh, Melanie did the same thing. I would come home from work and Melanie would be in full on sweat in the living room. I'm like, oh, what's up? She's like, hi. I'm just like, you are sweaty.
Hot days here in Stockton.
Yeah, that's exactly. So you got to, yeah, you work on your craft at home. Work on your craft.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, like with like the stuff that's been going on, like figuring out what I wanted, like what my goals were in life and everything. I wasn't drumming much these past 4 or 5 years, like just working on my craft. And I now have a clear picture of where I want to go. And um I should be starting some drumming classes soon here in Stockton. And that'll give me a chance to go back to my basics and work on my craft again. And that's going to push me to the next level. So that's where, when you guys are talking about how do I get to that next level is, you know, like it's a lot of it is your basics, polishing your skills. And then as far as the creative stuff, that's really hard to preach to, as far as, because everyone is different when they create.
Yeah.
Everyone has their own unique way of playing. Like, we call it the style out here. Oh, that's Marky's style, that's Eric's style, that's Cephas style, that's Sienna's style, that's, well, that's Tila Noah style, that's, that's Bub style. There's so many different styles of where they play. But one thing you could look at, you might want to look at is, okay, what in, like, if you got to sit down and like really, like how you guys are sitting down next to each other, you guys share moments off the camera, outside of practice. You guys, I'm pretty sure you guys know what type of music you guys like, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then you take in consideration like what kind of people they surround themselves with. Like, those are the things that influence, like, you may not think about it, but those are the kind of things that will influence your, just how you create things in life. Because you got it, when you create, you got to pull from somewhere. You're not gonna just go, okay, that thing. Like, you can from, a little bit at a time, but it comes from within too. Like, you're like, okay, what am I feeling right now? Like, who was I around a minute ago? Like, if you guys are fighting and, if we were all fighting right now and I went to go try to create some drumming, I'd be like, I'm not feeling good right now because I just got in a fight with my friends,
Yeah.
and that has an effect on your creativity. And the type of music that you listen to as well plays a big, I don't say a big factor, but it does contribute to your creativity, whether it
Yes.
be the music, or if you listen to other drumming, or you listen to other genres of music. I try to push the envelope. I listen to a lot of African music sometimes. I'll just go boom, and I'll go to native music and try to get inspired by their singing and their chants. And then, I'll go to a prima, or I'll go to, a different, like, genre. Like, let me go listen to some Japanese music, and then, like, okay, let's see what this does to me.
Yeah.
So that's, as far as like creating, I can only speak to myself. As far as creating, that's what I do. I try to pull from different places. So, and it gets the creative juices going, and then boom, there it is right there. And that's the other side of, you have the skill, work on the skill, you have the talent, and then you polish the talent, and then you have the creative side, and then just see
Mix
what
it
you can come
together.
up with. Yeah. And, I'm pretty sure I'm missing other little variables, like, other drummers will have different takes on it and stuff. And, you know, and then, influences of like, okay, who did you like when you grew up? Like, what kind of music were you around? And I think people who are and this is just me, this is my opinion. I think people who are Polynesian, I think they have an edge on some people sometimes because they're Polynesian. This is their culture, whether it's be Tahitian or not. Like, they have a better understanding of, like, because they have a better understanding of their culture. I think they're more sound, and their approach on the drumming is more sophisticated, and I see it. And you can see it and you can hear it. It's a beautiful thing, and it's just like, man, like, that was really good. Like, gosh, like, I can't like that. I really enjoyed that piece, and you know, and it's just I don't know. A lot of creative people out there. The best advice I can give is just work on your skill. Just work on your skill set as far as basics. Always go back to the basics, and then go back to where you left off to try to push to your goal. And once you get to your goal, that's not the end.
Yeah, and trying to not to skip the whole process, because
Yeah.
sometimes the people want to skip the process and just get to the, I don't know, the next level without doing all that things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they want to go from A to Z, skipping B, C, and D, and blah blah blah.
Yeah. And there's also a flip side to that coin, and this was kind of like the old way of thinking as well. And you know the old ways are sort of, not all, but sort of dead in a sense, because
Yeah.
sometimes it doesn't always have to be A to Z. If you have a drummer who is brand new and they are able to pick drumming up really quick, wow, congratulations, you have a talent and you have an eye and you're a genius for this. Cool, work on it, work on it. Then this doesn't mean that you have to go through A, B, C, and D. We recommend that you go through it. And if you can do it, then yes. And then you want to hone your skills that way, then cool. But there are going to be some people who are just going to get it like that, whether it be dancing, singing, ukulele, and stuff. And there are people out there like that, and we have to acknowledge that. And I don't think we should be sitting here and throwing shade at them, because I look at that as like, man, that's just another one in the community that's really good, and I can't wait to see where they go.
Yeah.
And it's like, what I mean by the old way of thinking was like, we had, there was some the thought process back in the day was, oh no, it took me 7 years to get to where I am, so you need to pay 7-8 years before you can get. I'm like, wait, what? Like, no. If this person's showing talent and they can get it in the least amount of time, then heck yeah, that's going to benefit us. Like, what the heck? Like, why would I hold you down? Like, no. Like, no. Don't, like, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah,
It
they
doesn't
don't
make
have to
sense.
get through the same road that you
Yeah.
have done.
Yeah, and we're at a point, where Tahitian culture is more, how do you say, accessible to us, because one, social media, and two, it was really hard to get a proper teacher back in the day to teach you how to play, and as drumming has evolved over the years, you see that, like, okay, cool, like these kids are learning a lot faster than we ever did, they're able to practice they're learning stuff faster than we ever did, because the accessibility, and there's nothing we can do to stop it. And we have we just have to just kind of like, all right, this is the train that's moving, whether you're going to be on it or not, like, it's moving. And I'm not going to sit here and just toss aside, oh no, you're not good enough yet, you're not good enough because it took me 10 years to get that and you only did it in 6, but I don't want you there yet. Like, that is the very old way of thinking. Like, we know it's called paying your dues. Some people call it, like, you need to pay your dues before you can be with the big dogs or the A team. I'm like, okay, there's a time and place for that, but that, like, if I told that to someone who was new into the culture and they had talent, do you think they'd ever want to come back?
Yeah.
If I told them that, like, no, you're going to stay here. Well, I got it. Like, how come? You're like, no, you got to stay here. Like, okay. All right. Okay. And there's other things that, there's other things that go into it. There's things like, I don't just teach anyone, because it's like planting a seed. When you plant a seed and the way it grows, sometimes it's like, okay, who planted that seed? Oh, dang, Marky did. Like, oh, that's a bad tree. Like, that's a bad plant. What happened to it? I have to approach people like that sometimes. There's a lot of variables that go on. Like, if someone who has talent, but they don't do right by the culture. They only think they're pretty selfish, or they're ignorant, or they're arrogant. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna have to distance myself from you. So, but yeah, that whole thing right there is very important, and it's hard to kind of ball it up, put it like this means this means this, because there's so many things that encompass, like, the whole talent base, and then the skills, working on the skills and the creativity part, and then also, learning now is different than it was learning back then. So yeah, with YouTube, you have access to everything. Social media, you have access to everything.
Yeah, we can have these kind of conversations.
Exactly.
Easily. I remember we asked you for an advice like 6 or 7 years ago to a competition, and it was really hard to get to you, like, hey Marcus, we have these questions, we don't know how to perform this.
Yes.
How do you say this? How do you do this? And oh my, it was a pain, where to get to that result. And now we have this technology, we have This the knowledge is like to a click of distance. And now you're right. Life's different. The ages are different. There are definitely different times, and the new generations. Some people say that the new generations are like messed up, but it's like us when we were young, right? Yeah, the old people, they don't know what we how do we think.
Yeah.
And now we're switching papers.
Now we are the old people.
Yeah, now we are the old people.
We're the old ones.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the new generations are coming in. Oh my, it's really easy to do this. Oh yeah, it's really easy. It took me 10 years, but yeah, keep practicing. And it's really cool that you get to see this, because there are people who doesn't get to think outside of the box. And there are people who doesn't ¿cómo se dice? That there are people who doesn't push themselves to think different, to act different, and even to share. They think, I don't want to share my knowledge. It took me 10 years to know this thing.
Yeah.
Why will why should I share this? And the knowledge is not to keep them on a safe. Keep your secrets on a safe, but you have to share the knowledge. And that's the only way that your seed will grow bigger, as big as it can, because the knowledge should always be evolving. It is my knowledge, but now that you get to know what I'm teaching you, you're going to be able to teach it on a different way, and the knowledge is getting bigger. You know, I don't know if you get what I'm saying.
But that is
Yeah.
that is something that is related direct to the I don't know, the vision of that you said, that I'm thinking I'm making this for me, or for who? I
Yeah,
make
exactly.
this for sharing to the people, to help the people, to share with them my experience, the whole things that I've been through, how many years I want to spend doing this. It has to be like with that kind of vision, you know. And that is when you start to share in the same way that your vision is, you know.
Yeah. And you know what's so crazy? I like to share something too, and to piggyback on that. Like it goes back to like, okay, why do I do this? Yeah, I acquired this knowledge from people who are willing to share it with me. But then you all like there's so many things. Like this is what I like to say. Like, okay, Uncle Joel always taught me to share. He would say, my culture's not for sale. That's what he would tell us. My culture's not for sale. It's okay to do things like this sometimes, but it's not for sale to make a profit on your own agenda and stuff. And sometimes when I do workshops, I don't charge a lot. I don't charge a lot. And because I know what I'm giving to these people is, I try to put myself in their shoes when I was learning. Like, it was very hard to learn this, so I can do it. But at the same time, I have to protect what I've learned as well, because there are people that do have agendas to just want to take, and they're not going to do good by what I taught them. And then they're going to go out and say, oh, Marcus taught me. And then someone's going to come back and be like, hey, why did you teach this person? They're no good, So and I tell people, if you're ever in a instructor or director's seat, or you're in that role to have to teach and everything, it's tough sometimes. You have to teach, because once it's out there, it's out there. There's no control of what you can do. And as far as I'd like to say one more thing about the evolution of like how things are changing. The last time we went out for drumming, when was it? 2000. I forgot where we were at, but Carlos Tuya from Ketaviti, he is a wonderful Dota player. And please don't quote me on this, but he's the creator Vodal, the Tahitian, you know, and he came down here before, I think before I was born, before any of us were born. He showed us in America how Oro was supposed to be played. I was like, dang, this is these guys were playing it in the 80s and we were so far behind. I remember at a critique meeting, you know, after the competitions, you get to sit down with the judges and listen to what they have to say. Carlos was there and he said he would like to see more of, you know, it's like of other people trying to evolve the culture. And as far as drumming, he was specifically speaking to drumming because, yeah, people always follow Tahiti. He's like, but I want to see what the outsiders can bring to us. Maybe we can learn something from outsiders as well, you know? And I want to see what pehe you guys come up with, you know? I want to see, you know how we like to play a certain beat from Tahiti and everyone knows it. And then we try to do it here. Let's just create a beat that will do really well and everyone will know it. You know, it's going to be timeless. After we're gone, everyone's going to know it. And that year I was like, oh, that's the next level. That's where I got to push to. That's the next goal. And I tell my fellow drummers, I'm like, dude, Carlos said that. Like, I know you guys weren't there at the meeting, but he would like us to see what we come up with, like how we come up with our own pehe and we name our own pehe. Like he wants to see the process, how we come up with, you know, in good faith, not trying to disrespect the culture, like just do your best. And then, you know, I'm open to criticism too with the Tahitians, you know, as far as if I create something, I'd be open to hear their critique and their criticism on it. Oh, no, maybe this might not work out because this and this. Oh, okay, cool. But yeah, that was the biggest thing. And that's like recent. That was like 2015. He said that, I think. And you know, not many people were there, but hopefully this video will reach people to where they can, you know, kind of take that message and be like, oh wow, you know, it's coming from one of the pillars in Tahiti. You know, he's been a judge for the Heva. He's Tomite. And you know, I would like to believe that he knows what he's talking about.
Yeah.
So yeah, so he, you know, so you know, him saying that, and you know, him and I, you know, we always keep in touch here and there on Facebook sometimes, and we say hi to one another. We say happy holidays to one another. And we've I believe we've grown to kind of be friends from a distance, you know. So but please, you know, I'm relaying the message of Carlos Tuya. Try to come up with pehe, and you know, because he said he's like, you always don't depend on Tahitians to create pehe all the time. You guys are here too doing it. Do it. So, but
That was his seed on your life.
Huh?
That was his seed on your life, on
Correct.
your brain.
Yeah, and that one is still growing for me.
Yeah.
It is forever growing. I'm just like, okay, what can we do to try to, how can we push the envelope to make something like no one's ever heard before, or a different take on this? And what I usually do now, like lately, I've just been revamping basic pehe, and I've just been trying to maybe create a different way of how to play it, you know? And so it's where it's still recognizable, but like you can't identify it right away. You're like, oh, that sounds like a beat, but I don't know what it is, you know? But you know, to piggyback, I'd like to throw that in there off the evolution of drumming. Like he wants us to be a part of it. So, but yeah.
That's a real good story, lad. We wait the same. We hope that this message gets to the correct people, and to share the culture, to share knowledge, to share love, to share your beliefs or beliefs, and to make the next evolution of the culture, not only the Tahitian culture, but the mixing of all the cultures, the American culture, the Mexican culture, the Ori, and how Mexicans are performing the Ori culture, not being disrespectful, but trying to put like their own,
Our Mexican way.
yeah,
Yeah.
and so as the American way, as the Stockton style. You said like minutes ago, this is your style or style, and that I believe that this is what it's all about. I don't know why, I don't know how, but you can make a hip hop song with Audi rhythms and with different pejes. It is not. Let's just not have the culture inside of a cage, and let's set it free, set them free.
Yeah. Yeah. For 100%. Yeah. I totally agree. You know, I believe we're at a point to where we could, we can, and I think we will do it, and uh, I think it's just, I can't wait to see where it goes. And I'm really excited for the younger generation. I can't wait to see what they come up with. And, it's just going to keep getting better and better. And,
Yeah.
you know, a lot happened for me. Like I've been to Tahiti, oh my God, 3 times. Yeah, 3 times. And people think I go to Tahiti a lot. I'm like, no, I've only been 3 times. Like,
Yeah, just like
so-
us. Just like us. The last time we were there, it was like
Yesterday in Google Maps.
No. Yeah, in Google Maps. That's the only way.
My man, I didn't mean to flex like that. No, but it's like the first 2 were just for a vacation and to get to know the culture more and, go see our family, friends out there in Tahiti. And then the third one was actually, it was a dream come true, you know. But I'll speak on, you want me to speak on that about my experience with Hey Tahiti that year and how it came to be?
Yeah, feel free
yeah,
to.
Yeah, because so I told many people the story that are around, but Melanie was going to Hey Tahiti, and she got the invitation after she came home, the world champion for her competition in Tahiti, and she got the invitation from Tiare, and then Melanie didn't want to be alone in Tahiti, and mom and dad didn't want her to be alone, so they said, "Mark, you want to go?" I was like, "Yeah, I'll go." So I took, yeah, I was like, I'll go. So I took
I'm so in.
yeah. So I took some time. I took some time off of work. I was there for like almost 2 months. And yeah, my jobs were able, at the jobs I had at that time, I was able to take that much time off without losing my job. So I saved up, did what I could, got out there, and um I think I forgot how we got on the subject, but I think it was the help of Sven and Melanie. They were like, "Hey, my brother's a drummer. He'd like to possibly audition for the drum line." And so they're like, "Okay." So Tiare talked to Papitam Urima, God rest his soul. He passed away years ago. Um, he is the reason why I got to fulfill a lifelong dream. Uh, he gave me an opportunity, and there was an opportunity to, prove myself, and I did. I was supposed to go play Pahutupai for Hey Tahiti, and just so happened by the grace of God again, there was a Tawere player who did not show up for practice,
Oh my, really?
and there was an open seat, and it was next to his son Hidemoana Urima. So we had a huge ensemble. We had like 10 Tawere players, I think, but Papitam was sitting in the middle, and then it was his son Hidemoana, then the open seat, and then the rest of the drummers.
Damn.
And Tiare gave me permission to learn. She gave me all the MP3 of all the drumming months before. So what do you think I did? I listened to everything every day.
Sleeping, eating.
Yeah, and showering with it. Like, look at this Toma. Like, you know what I'm saying? But
Yeah, but
yeah. So I took advantage of that. And what happened was I learned as much as I could. There were still a lot of routines that I needed to learn and a lot of material that I needed to learn.
Yeah.
So I get there, I see the Tawere, and I don't know how it got on, but there was a few people on the drumline already who knew who I was from here. But Papi Tom, he's old school. He's not on social media. He lets other handles his social media for him. Excuse me. But he said, "Here, sit down." And then he didn't say anything to me. His son did. Moana, Marcus, come. And I introduced myself and everything. And I asked him, "Oh, what part?" Muri, mua, rupu. And he said, "Oh, muri." I said, "Okay." And then I said, "Oh, what is the pehe?" He's like, "Oh, Besmel. So it was Sven's solo, the Besmel solo. And then I look at Sven and I look at Melanie, and they already knew I had been practicing this beat day in and day out. So I was ready. And I played it to the best of my ability. And then Papi Tom, right at the end, gets up out of his chair. He goes, "You played the way, no pahu to bite. We need you." Like,
Oh
yes.
my.
So that was my audition on the Toere. And then even Papi Tom switched his seats. He wanted to sit next to me. So Papi Tom sat next to me during the Heva. So if you watch the Heva, I'm sitting next to the great Papi Tom, man. And his son's on the right, leading everything. And that experience in itself was very humbling because, if I could share like what I went through, like it was a humbling experience because at that time, I'm not gonna lie, like I kind of came with that sense of, I had a bit of an ego, I would say, because here in the United States and to people on, like in Mexico and Hawaii, "Oh, Marcus, he's a good drummer." When I go to Tahiti, Papi Tom did not care who I was. He tore me down and said, "No, that's wrong. That's wrong." I was like, "Oh man," I kept messing up. And you know what it was? It was basic pehe. I was messing up on. There was a beat that was always that was tricking me, and I would always miss it. And he would go, "Marcus, no!" Oh, I was like, "Oh my God!" And I was like, "No," but I was like, "I'm welcoming all this. I need this."
Yeah.
And I'm taking it serious. I'm just like, it was a beat like, and the timing was out, and I kept messing up on that part, that simple part. He was getting on me so much about it, but I like to think it like this way. He would get on me on like a lot of practices. We were late to one practice one day, and he blamed it on me. I was like, "That's not me, man. These people didn't wake up on time. I woke up on time." But I look at that as he really cared. This is his culture, and he knew that I cared about it so much that he was he. I knew he wouldn't do this for everyone. So the fact that I got to sit next to him and learn from him and be scolded by him and be yelled at by him was an honor, and I don't regret any of it. I will go through it again and again and again with him. And it may have been annoying at times, but it was a humbling experience. And Puppy Tom would always ask me and my sister to come over his house. Just he didn't speak he didn't speak English at all. He would want a translator there, and we would just sit there. No electronics, nothing. We would just sit there. We were in his time, on his like it was like he was still living the way he grew up, like no electronics. And I was there just in his time, like that, the what he knew. And he gifted me a drum as an appreciation, saying thank you. And there's pictures on my Instagram of him, him giving me a kiss and everything on my cheek. And I think that was fulfilling because it was a win-win for both of us, I think. And it was a true honor to drum with him and share the stage with him in the way that I did. And if you see me that day on Heva, I am just smiling my butt off. I'm just that day you can see the camera. You can see the cameras like I'm just smiling. I'm like, man, this is a dream come true. I'm like, I'm here performing. I'm drumming for Melanie, who's dancing, and we're both living out our dreams right now. And it was just I don't know, probably one of the best moments of my life, one of many best moments of my life. And it was a treat to learn from him. And no, he will most definitely be living on through my teachings and everything. Anytime I teach, he will be there with me, and when I teach him. So sorry, let me take that back. I count him as let me put him. He's a sixth
Yeah,
teacher.
he's the sixth one.
Yeah, he's a sixth one, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
He
but
gave me
sometimes-
the affinity gauntlet.
Sometimes in life you need those kind of experiences of messages or
Yeah.
teachers of life that shows you that it's better those kind of experiences to learn more beyond that you know or go farther than you have become because when you're in a place that you are the best one as you said no
Yeah.
one's shows you how to become better or how to getting better in something that you haven't done yet. So when you get those experiences, you get some messages of life that gives you a little bit more like a push to get to the next level and to
Yeah.
and to know and understand that there is a lot of people better than you know.
Oh yeah. Oh yes, for sure. I 100% agree with you, Marcos. Like I tell people to this day, I said we as drummers who many consider us to be the top, we still have a lot to learn. We still have a lot to learn. Like the next thing I want to learn about is, excuse me, like where do all these pehes come from? Why are they named Pahai, Samba, Paya, Takoto? Why are they named Bora Bora? Like what was the significance of them? And it's really hard to get a hold of that knowledge because you know, either one, people don't know, or two, the elders are dying in Tahiti that do know, and it's hard to get that information. That history's lost,
Yeah.
and it's really hard. And you know that going back to what was saying is it's always good to have a humbling experience. And like I said, I would gladly go through that again with the Papi Tom or any other pillar in Tahiti who I consider like, oh man, this guy's gonna teach me a thing or two. And he would always invite me over, man. And believe it or not, I believe, please don't quote me on this. I can confirm it later on, but I believe Papi Tom was the one who showed Papa Gerard how to carve toire. Like he was one of the first. He was one of the first ones, I believe, or maybe he was one of Papa Gerard's teachers, and he showed him because I didn't know. I was learning the circle of how things were happening. Papi Tom said, "Oh, you know Papa Gerard?" I was like, "Yeah." He took care of us. He's like, "Okay, we're gonna go to his house." I was like, "What?" I'm like, and we just showed up to his house, and it's me, Papi Tom, and Papa Gerard.
That was a lifetime experience. Damn.
Yeah, I was just like, what would have been this? All right, I'm just sitting here with these guys. I'm like, and we're just talking, and Ina was there to translate, and sometimes, but it was fulfilling to kind of see who was the teacher of the teacher, and and the same thing with Adam. Do you know what Adam did for? Remember what I told you what Adam did for me?
Yeah.
You know who did that for Adam?
No.
Kevin Kama from
Oh
Hawaii.
my.
Yeah, when he was a teenage boy, he taught him. He took him in and said, "Hey, And I I think I forgot. Kevin was telling me about how like Adam was like a teenage. I forgot how old he was, but he was a kid. He was really wanting to learn, and someone told Kevin, "Hey, you got to meet this kid, Adam. Like he really wants to meet you. He really wants to learn. Like I think you'd be good to teach him and stuff." And he walks in the room, and Adam already had his sticks out and this, and then Kevin's like, "All right, here we go." And then and then I tell Kevin, I was like, "Dude, you're kind of like my grandmaster." I'm like, I'm the Padawan, Adam's the master, and then but he's the Padawan of you. Like you're Yoda and he's Obi-Wan, and I'm
Yeah.
but but you see how everyone is like connected. It's a small world. Like we live in different parts of the world, and everyone's connected somehow. At some point in their lives, like it's like, oh wow, I learned from this person. I learned from this person. So, and it's in Tahiti, that whole trip was a humbling experience. Being with Tiare, learning from her, just being around her and being around her creativity and her aura and her family, it was very inspiring. Um, very, I don't know, they're just wonderful people, beautiful people. And Melanie and I were very blessed to be around them for that experience. And I don't know, it was really fun. It's really hard to explain that in a nutshell. Like, it's just like, okay, I'm not sitting in front of a TV screen watching Heva. I am Heva this year. Like, what's going on? Like,
Yeah,
this is so crazy. This is so crazy. And oh man. And it's not everyone gets that opportunity to go out there and be invited or have the opportunity to do that. So that's why I didn't hesitate, when I had to answer. I was like, heck yes, I want to go. I don't care if I'm not playing Tawede. I'd rather just be playing Poet's Pie and then be on the Hava stage, and but yeah, and it was really fun seeing friends over there. I had friends from other Pupu Oris in Tahiti, because there's groups like they like to go see, because there's private practices, but it's not really private because they practice outdoors. So what they like, people are kind of open to like walk up and just watch your practice, and it happens a lot, and that's what happens in Tahiti. So you hear the Hey Tahiti or whoever Titiora or OTTA, Hikuronui, Ohutoronui, someone is just practicing. Oh, they're practicing at the Marche. Let's go over there. So that first practice where I was drumming, I had a few friends from other Pupuoris in Tahiti. They saw me. They're like, "What are you doing here?" I was like, I'm drumming." They're like, no, come drum with us. I'm like, no, I'm staying here, man. I'm staying right here. I said, I need to be right next to this guy, Papi Tom. I'm like, he is going to school me in every way possible, and I need every single bit of it. And so, but no, he took us in like family, and we love his family to death. God rest his soul, rest in peace. But I know, like I said, he's going to be with me wherever I go in his teachings. Within my teachings, he's going to be there. I will always have his drum, and his philosophy of the drum is beautiful. He makes the way it is reverse. Well, what I mean by that is when you play it, you don't play with the hollow part in, you play with it out.
Yeah.
Because his philosophy is this: when the mouth of the Tawede is the mouth right here. He said, I talk to you like this. I don't talk to you like this with my back turned.
Yeah.
That's the way he talks. That's the way he makes his drums. So when you see me playing his drums, it looks like I'm playing it backwards, so the dancers can hear it. But I was just like, oh man, see, this guy's teaching me all kinds of stuff.
That's different.
Different way to do the things.
And
yeah,
it's his sazon, his own flavor.
yeah.
No,
he's unique. He's unique.
Yeah.
He's unique. He's different in amongst others. Like everyone has their style.
Yeah.
But his style was that. I was like, okay, this is great. That was fun. And man, Melly and I were like doing shows almost every weekend, almost every day. Like it was like we were on vacation, but we weren't, because we would go to practice and then we would go do shows. And then after shows, we would have a little bit of time to go party and go eat or work on costumes or learn more material, go practice more, like you said. And and it's and Melly and I were accustomed to that because we know what kind of work goes into being that, so we're just like, all right, we know what we need to do. Like, we need to practice. Let's go practice. And then Melanie like, hey, can you play this song so I can, like, you're learning the song, right? And I'm like, yeah, I'm still learning the chords. She's like, okay, can you play it? And then I'll dance it. And I was like, all right. I'm like, oh, I missed a chord. And then like, we just keep going back and back and back and back and forth. So yeah. So mine and Melanie's work ethic mesh together as well too, as far as getting to the next level or just being good, to being satisfied and being good for Hey Tahiti and Tiare and make sure the projection goes right. So but yeah, man, what else do you want to know, man? It's just like I've never
no. We don't want to know everything from you right now. It's only it's our first episode.
Yeah.
We want to have lots of episodes with you. Hopefully we will record our next episode at Stockton, or even better at Tahiti. We don't know. Or you can come here to Guadalajara. It's been a lot since you don't
I know. I need to go pay a visit to you guys. We need to go we need to go back to the club. I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
Dos cervezas, por favor.
Yeah, you remember that one? Yeah, we were dancing.
Yeah, that night was pretty fun, man. No, it
Yeah.
was a pleasure being with you guys, and you know, we consider you guys family for sure. You
Oh,
know,
that's awesome.
out
We
there,
consider you
out
family
there.
as well.
Yeah, and you know, we miss that, just that whole time. And when you guys made me sing that song too, man, I saw a video of it.
Oh yeah,
Remember, yeah, yeah,
yeah. We have the video. I believe my cousin Paco has them.
No, I have the video.
Ah,
And
you
at the
have
end,
them.
yeah, I have, and then at the end, he was like,
It's
I remember that, dude.
fa umu.
What was it? The
Yeah.
the year we went down.
No, the doesn't forget about it. I will tell you after this.
Yeah.
But for us, that would be all. We want to thank you for your time. As you said, it was almost a year or more to have this opportunity of recording this episode, but it's totally worth it, man. We have heard lots of things that we didn't know, we didn't imagine, and I don't know, man. We're really glad to have you here. I believe people who's if you get listener, if you get to this point of the video, thanks a lot. It's been a long conversation, and
Yeah.
it was a really rich conversation with lots of facts, lots of experiences, lots of knowledge. And if you want to know more about Marcus Amen, he's not at Facebook. He is only on Instagram. And
Yeah.
where can we find more about you, Marcus?
Okay,
Marcus?
so well, I really don't, well, my personal one's my personal one, but I'm actually in the works of making a like a drumming Instagram where people can follow our drumming. And it's not just my drumming, you know, I'll try to showcase people's drumming on you know, other groups drumming on there too. Um but I think that's called Ari'i Aito. Ari'i Aito.
Okay.
And means King Aito, you know. And it plays on my Tahitian name, which is Ari'i Mana, King of Power. And so, you know, that was given to me by a family over there. And I said, okay, I'll make this. So once I get it up and running, I'll, you know, I think you can go and search it now. It's Arii underscore AITO. And then you'll
We
be
will
able to
write it
find.
down.
Yeah.
We will
Yeah,
write
yeah,
it
yeah.
down because
And in the description, yeah.
Yeah.
So but yeah, no, for sure. But I should be reactivating my Facebook, you know, sometime maybe towards the end of this year, because I will start I'm going to be advertising for drumming classes. And this will be the first time I'm like publicly advertising drumming classes. I usually just I usually just do like word of mouth, like, hey, I'm having drumming classes, come through, you know. But this will be the first time I'm doing it. So we'll see how it goes, you know. Hopefully people show up, and for the people that do, I can't wait to teach again. I'm really excited. It's been a long journey for me, so you know, there's a lot I have to give back, and then there's a lot I'm still learning. I'm still a student to the Tahitian culture, so I will forever be learning, um, and and it's a beautiful thing. I don't regret anything. So, but yeah, and if you know me, you already have my personal info. Just get just get a hold of me. I'll do the best I can to get back to you. But yeah, no, Luis, Marco, thank you so much for being patient with me during this whole process. Really great questions. Probably by far one of the best interviews I've had, as far as, you know, asking questions to make me think differently about something maybe I never thought about before, you know. Please keep it up. And then we'll most definitely get you guys, you know, the way I got this stuff going on. And then no, it'd be great. You know, I just want to, you know, I really can't wait to see where you guys go with this. And I think it'd be cool, you know, be like a year cap, like, oh, you know, like maybe we'll do another video at the end of the year, and then like we'll do another one 3 years from now to see what's changed in those 3 years. You know, so that'd be fun. So yeah.
Yeah. And
Thank you
that's
so
pretty much
much.
that's what we're working on. And thanks again. Please, people, give give your thumbs up, click share, click.
Follow us.
Click thumbs down if you don't like it. We don't care. Nah, we're just kidding.
Marky
Everything-
sucks.
No, that's not true. That's true. That'll be all for today. Thanks once again. And please, 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 please share this with people that you think that should know about it. That should know about Marcus, about Marco, or me. And that'll be all. Thanks, people, and keep in touch. We'll see each other soon.
Thanks, bro.
Thanks, bro.